All right, today we're talking about starting an Amazon FBA store with little to no money out of your own pocket and scaling that up to a very high level, all while taking maximum profits along the way. The strategies I'm going to talk about in this video will separate you from the 90% of people who start Amazon, don't have a plan, and end up failing due to lack of capital, not being creative enough, not having the strategies that they need to go ahead and scale up. And it'll put you in a position to guarantee that you're going to be successful with Amazon. Huge jump in my profits, all from implementing what I'm going to talk about in this video. And these strategies are very real. These are the same strategies that I implement for all of my students. This was not just a one-off thing for me. I've seen this succeed with many of my own students, and I'll actually be showing you a case study of one of the students a little bit later in the video. All right, so let's get down to the strategies. What can separate you from 90% of the people that start Amazon and fail? In my opinion, the number one thing that will set you apart from anyone else is business funding. Getting money that is not your own, investing that money into products, into inventory for your Amazon FBA store, and making profit that way. Now I'm going to go through all the ins and outs of how to do this and what are some things that you should worry about along the way. But first, I want to make it very clear. This is very doable for anyone out there that's watching this video. Anyone can get a good credit score, even if your credit is already bad. Anyone can go ahead and take that credit score and leverage it to get business funding for an LLC. Use that business funding to buy inventory for your Amazon FBA store, see hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales, and then go ahead and take that profit and then pay that business funding back. I've done this many cycles over and over again, rinse and repeat business funding many times for me and my students. So let's get down into what it takes to get business funding. Now, to be completely transparent, when I learned about business funding, I was lagging behind a little bit because my credit score was really bad. And that's one of the things that you have to have in place to go ahead and get business funding. And a good range for your credit score is going to be anywhere from 680 on up. 680 is a minimum that you want to be whenever you're trying to acquire business funding, because basically you're asking the banks to trust you to take their money and flip it. And with a bad credit score, that's basically telling them that you're not trustworthy. And my credit score when I first started was terrible. It was at a 480. I had lots of negatives on my reports. But the first step that you're going to do to see what not only your credit score, but what your credit profile looks like is go to My Score IQ. I'll put the link down in the description for the $1 free trial. You're going to basically go there, pull your credit reports, and see what your scores are for Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, the 3 credit bureaus. And go ahead and see what negatives you have on there. A lot of y'all, if you've never checked your credit report, will have many different negatives on there that you might not have even known about. Inquiries on there that you don't even know about, especially if you've bought a car. A lot of times when you go straight to the dealerships will run your credit through the mud, just trying to get you approved from any bank. And they'll just put so many inquiries on there because they don't really care about your credit. They care about getting you that sale. And this happens a lot if you're just out there applying for credit products. You're going to have lots of inquiries on your report. Same thing with late payments. You may have late payments that are affecting your credit score. All these things can be removed from your credit profile, but first you have to know what's on there. And if y'all want a video on how to remove some of that stuff, if y'all want me to get into more credit side stuff so that you can go ahead and put yourself in position for business funding, let me know and I'll start making videos on the credit side of getting business funding as well. Because this is something that I went through, and it's something that in the mentorship we help students with, getting business funding. That's one of the main goals. Whenever we get students in the mentorship, the main goals are teaching you how to source and getting you business funding. If you have the skill of sourcing and you have money behind you, you're like an unstoppable machine. It's almost impossible for you to not make money. Once you have your score above a 680, now you're going to need to have an open LLC. Having an LLC is crucial because we're not looking for personal funding. We're not looking for credit cards in our own name. We're not looking for loans. We're looking to get business funding, because the difference between business and personal funding is huge. With personal funding, like a credit card, right? You look at something like a credit card versus a business credit card. If you're looking at a credit card, you're looking at maybe, if your credit profile is thin and you're very young, you're looking at maybe $5,000 to $10,000 limits when you're first starting out. You're looking at having to pay back your cards month after month. You're looking at interest start hitting you as soon as you don't pay back your cards, and a lot of different things that make using your own personal credit very scary. But when you form an LLC and you have your own company, everything changes. When you have business funding, a huge difference is the limits. As soon as you go into business funding, your limits are going to go from, if you're barely getting started in the credit space and your limits are somewhere around 5 to 10K, even if they're lower, 1 to 5K, your limits are on the business side are going to start at 10K. They're going to go from 10 to 50K. And then if you have a little bit more credit history to show you can go from 50 to 100K. And on top of that, your business cards are treated very differently than a personal card. On a business card, you are not penalized for using your credit the same way you are with personal credit. If you're watching this and you have a credit card, you know that if you use lots of your credit, say you have $5,000 on a credit card, if you use 4,000 of those dollars, your credit utilization is going to go straight through the roof and your credit score is going to go down because you're using a lot of your credit. You look risky to the creditors, right? Whereas business cards, banks know it takes money to make money. So they don't penalize you for using all of your credit whenever they give it to you. They don't penalize you for using your business funding. On top of that, most of the cards that we go for, especially with the students in the mentorship, we go for cards that have 12-month no interest periods. So basically, when you're going for business funding, you're looking to get a bunch of money that you can use with 12 months without paying interest. You want a whole year with this money to make it flip before you have to start paying interest. Because what good is this money if you have to start paying interest right away? It's really not. No one wants money that you're obligated to start paying right away. And so that's exactly why whenever we're looking to go ahead and start getting you business funding, you have to be smart about it. You can't just go out there and apply for anything because you'll get into funding that you are getting charged interest on. Some of these banks report to your personal credit, whereas if you get the right personal cards, they won't report to your personal credit while you're using them. You won't be penalized for using the business funding. You have 12 months, no interest, and a lot of and your limits are going to be much higher if you do it the smart way. Once you have a good credit score, you have an LLC, and you have a good looking credit profile, the next step that you're going to go ahead and take is to do something called a personal guarantee. Now, a personal guarantee basically means that you're going to a bank, let's say Chase in this example. For the rest of this video, I'm going to use Chase as the example bank because that's where I got my funding. And currently, whenever I get students that are looking for business funding, I usually go through Chase. So let's use Chase as an example. If you go to Chase and you say, I want to start a business and I have a checking account open for my business and I want to go ahead and get business funding, there's two things that they're going to look at. They're either going to want to see good personal credit or they're going to want to see that your business is bringing in a lot of money. Now, if your business is new, right? If you just open your LLC and you're trying to get business funding, you're not going to have a lot of money reporting into your business bank account, right? So if they look into your business bank account, they're going to see, oh, you just started this, right? So at that point, they're going to want to see a personal guarantee. They're going to want to use your personal credit to ensure that their money is not going to be wasted. Because you can't just go in there a stranger with bad credit, with no money coming in, and just be like, I want business funding, right? Nobody's going to give you money like that. But if you go in there the correct way, you can get upwards of 50, 100. I've seen some of my students get $200,000 in business funding. What you're most likely going to do, unless you already have an LLC open that's making a lot of money, what you're going to do is something called a personal guarantee. So when we go to Chase, we're going to apply for business funding. They're going to use your personal credit as your guarantee to see, do we want to give them money? How much money do we want to give them? How much time do we want to give them to get it back to us? As long as you have a good personal credit profile, everything will go good for you. That's why I say it's so important. A lot of y'all want to jump the gun and want to get that business funding as soon as possible. And I understand, but you've got to play the long game here. So when we're going to Chase, we're going to go the personal guarantee route. And a huge help at getting higher limits is having a relationship manager. That's what I do for my students is we have relationship managers in Chase that we work with. So that way you're not just a random person putting in an application for business funding. You now have a cosign from a relationship manager, someone that works directly with Chase, someone that is employed by Chase. And we send our applications to our relationship manager so that way he gets them pushed through, he gets the limits increased, and basically you just have someone vouching for you in the company saying that this is a good application, let's go ahead and push it through, let's get them approved. That's where the fast and high limits come from. But if you're just going about this alone, basically what you're doing is applying for a credit card in your business's name. This is what you're going to do to get these high funding credit cards is that you're using your business as an entity to go ahead and secure funding. Chase is a very good bank to get funding from. Some other ones that I would say that give good funding limits are KeyBank, Truist, American Express has great business cards. Navy Federal is a great place to go for funding. Pretty much any bank that you can think of has some sort of business account and you can go and get business funding from them. Even credit unions. I always say when I have students come into my mentorship, the first thing I want to know is, have you been working with a bank in the past? If there's a bank that you've been working with since you were 18 years old, you get your direct deposits there, they're going to be more likely to throw you a bag, especially if you have a good credit profile, than going to somewhere that you just started working with and they don't know anything about you, but they can see a good credit profile. When we're working with the banks, relationship banking is huge. Building trust is huge because you're asking them to trust you with money, right? You can look at this just the same way as if you were asking a random stranger for money versus asking a friend for money or your mom for money, right? Your family knows you. They know who you are. They know what you do, your habits. Whereas if you go on a random stranger, they don't know if you're going to pay them back. They don't know if you're homeless. They don't know if you got a job, nothing, right? So at the end of the day, relationship banking is huge. Building a relationship with a bank will put you in position to get more funding, quicker funding, have better terms on that funding. So some ways that you can build a relationship with a bank. I'm gonna give y'all some real sauce right here. This is pretty much what I do when I'm starting a relationship with a new bank that I want to get funding with. First thing I'm gonna do is open up an account, right? Open a savings and open a checkings account. And I'm gonna put little deposits in there little by little. You don't have to be balling out of control to get funding. You just need to show that you have some income coming in. When I was first starting, I would open accounts. Like I remember I opened an account with Navy Federal, and every week I would put $10 into my checkings and $10 into my savings. And over time, then I would change that amount to 20 in each, and then 50 in each, and then 100 in each. And over time, you're building trust because you have little deposits going in and little things that are happening in your account to show, hey, I'm messing with y'all. I'm letting y'all hold on to my money, because at the end of the day, that's what banks are in business for. They hold your money. They use that money that's in their banks to invest in things, to make moves with, and then they pay you whenever you want your money back, right? Well, if you open an account and you don't have no money in there, you're not doing any good business with them, right? You are just basically superficially having an account open with them. So taking you through my step-by-step process of what I do whenever I'm trying to make a relationship with a bank quickly. First thing I'm going to do, like I said, open 2 accounts, savings and checkings, and I'm going to go ahead and start doing deposits in there. If you're balling like that, then put big deposits in there. The bigger, the better. Second thing that you're going to do is to get their products, right? Buy their products. One of the best products that you can get is something called an installment loan. Some people call them credit builder loans. Some people call them pledge loans. Basically, a pledge loan is just loaning the bank your money, then they loan it back to you and you show that you're responsible with it. This is a great way to quickly build a relationship with a bank. So an example of that would be a pledge loan with Navy Federal. I have $250. I give Navy Federal my $250, and then they say, all right, I'm going to go ahead and create a pledge loan with this. They give me the loan back. So they give me $250 back, and they basically monitor how I use that. So they want to see, do I pay it off, use it all and not pay it back? Basically, it's like a secured credit card where you're giving them money so that they can see how you move with it. And a great trick to maneuvering a pledge loan is go ahead and, let's say if you put a $100 pledge loan, right? You gave Navy Federal Credit Union $100 and you started that relationship. Go ahead and pay 90% of that back. So pay $90 off. And then over the next 10 months, you can pay $1 each month, and you can have a 90% paid off loan reporting on your credit profile, because this will report on your credit profile as positive credit history. Every month, you'll have a 90% paid off loan showing on your credit profile. The banks will love it. The credit unions will love it. The credit bureaus will love it. This shows a huge amount of responsibility on your part. A huge amount of trust is built. And any other credit products that they have, go ahead and get those. Get a secured card with them. Anything that you don't have to ask for a bunch of money with and they have a product for it, go ahead and get it. You're going to open those accounts, right? Checking and savings. You're going to go ahead and get their products. So get an installment loan, pledge loan, whatever they call it, and then maybe a secured card as well. At this point, these banks are already going to be asking you to give you money. These banks are going to see that you're a responsible lender, that you're doing good business with them, you're putting money into your accounts, and you're paying your credit products off on time. You're showing really good history, right? Now, one thing you don't want to do is go ahead and jump the gun because they're asking you to, if you want money. You don't want to take those offers right away. You need to go through something called a garden stage. And this is where a lot of people get messed up at, is because they see these limits that they're throwing you, right? So if you create those relationships with these banks, they're going to go ahead and send you emails and texts about you're pre-approved for 10,000, you're pre-approved for 15,000. You don't want those. You don't want credit cards on your personal side. You don't want none of that, right? You want to play the long game. We're trying to get the big boy funding, right? A lot of these people out here, they're going to go for that little funding. Credit cards, you're going to get the $5,000 credit cards and try and make that flip. But you want the big boy funding. What you're going to do is go through something called a garden stage. A garden stage is basically where you let your credit products age and you let your relationships age. This gives you a huge boost over everyone else that's doing this. So basically what you're telling the bank is, I don't need money right now. I'm showing y'all love. I'm creating relationships just because I want to do good business with y'all. They are going to be hand and foot trying to do business with you at any and all costs. And after that garden stage, once you're not making any more moves, because during this garden stage, once you've got everything set up, you don't want to make too many moves. You don't want a bunch of inquiries on your credit profile. You don't want to have too much stuff going on in the background. You don't want to be asking for money because that's going to make you look desperate. Now, if you have a good credit score already and a good credit profile, a lot of this is not needed. I did not start with good credit or a good relationship with any bank. So this is how you can repair that. But I just want to let it be known, if you have good credit already and you have a good credit profile, you can skip all these steps and just go straight for the funding. But this is for y'all out there that are trying to get in good with credit profiles and trying to get in good with banks and credit unions and really run up that bag starting from scratch. Right? And so anyways, once you're there, once you have let these accounts age and you've let these relationships age, you're going to go ahead and open up a business account. So for example, with Chase, right? We've let this account age. We've been depositing money every week, $10, $20, whatever. We have the credit products and we've been paying them off on time. And now they've been asking us all the time if they can do business with us. If we want a credit card, we're pre-approved. We've been turning them down. We don't want none of that. But now we're going to open up a business checking account using an LLC. And at that point, they're going to ask you if you would like any credit products for your business. And this is where you're going to go for them. Because at this point, they already know who you are. They already know what kind of business you do. They loving what you're doing and they're loving that you mess with them. So when you open that business, they're going to be eager to go ahead and fund that business because they know that you're going to do a good job, right? They know, they trust you. So when you open that business checking account, a lot of these places will let you do something called double dip. This is exactly what Chase does, is they let you double dip, meaning they let you acquire 2 credit products with 1 hard inquiry. So me, whenever I went and got my business funding, I went for a Chase Inc. business card and I got approved for a $40,000 limit. And then basically they let me double dip for another business card for another $40,000. So I had $80,000 in business funding from Chase to then go ahead and spend on inventory that next day. And I must have ran through 60,000 of those 80,000 within the first 2 weeks because I was very eager to go ahead and get started and start making some big money. I've always been a go-getter, and that's the kind of attitude you have to have when you're doing this. Is you cannot be shy, you cannot move slow. You have to move fast and you have to be aggressive and you have to know what you're doing. This is why I'm giving y'all this plan, because you have to know what you're doing when it comes to business funding and when it comes to business in general, because without a plan, without motion, without speed, you're stuck, right? You're just going to be the same as the 90% of people who start things and then they don't ever finish it. But this is a great plan to go ahead and get yourself relationships with banks, to go ahead and get funding on top of funding. And this works like clockwork, like magic. I've been doing this for the past year and a half. And I'll go to one bank, get 80,000 from them. I'll go to another bank, get 150 from them. I'll go to another bank, get 100 from them. You look at people starting businesses, especially at the upper echelon of business being done, they're not taking money out of the bank to go buy equipment or to go buy or to lease buildings and whatever they need to start their business. They are getting business loans. They're getting business funding. They're acquiring capital from a bank, using that capital to start their business, generating profit, and then paying back the bank little by little. And the bank loves it because they're making money. You're doing business with them. We love it as entrepreneurs because we're getting funded up front. And the success stories are wild. I'll put it up right here on the screen. This is Lucy. This is one of my students. We started teaching her Amazon FBA. And this is, I would very much recommend starting Amazon FBA before you have funding, because you don't want to get funding and just fumble the bag, right? A lot of people want that they hear $100,000. I can get $100,000 in funding. I need that first. But then they get it, they fumble the bag because they start spending it on stupid stuff. They don't know how to invest it. They don't know what to do and they're scrambling at the last second. Get into Amazon FBA first, start selling, make some sales, know the ins and outs a little bit. Like me, I started the same way. I started with $500 out of my own pocket, then scaled up, so you learn the ropes. And then from there, I got business funding and really turned up my store because I was already able to source. I was already able to find good products, put them in my store, ungate them. I already knew what to do. I just needed money to do it, right? And so that's where business funding can come in. And this is Lucy. She started the same way. She got into the mentorship at the end of last year. She started selling on Amazon little by little, just showing up to the sourcing meetings, showing up to the Sunday meetings, putting in work where it was really needed, and she did exactly what I told her. Every time we got on a meeting, every time we hopped on a one-on-one call, she was very receptive. She asked questions, got answers, and put it into action. And so I knew she was ready. And then beginning of this year, we got her funded for $50,000 from Chase. Me and my funding partner, we got her funded, and you can see here she's packing up lots of orders. Now she's doing one-on-one calls with the other students in the mentorship that are a little apprehensive about getting business funding. That can be scary, and I understand that. So I always put other students on with students who have been successful already. Look at this. You can see the wins around you. It's not just me up here telling you that it happened for me one time. There's students all through the mentorship that are making the same thing happen. And anyways, I just wanted to make it a point. It's very possible for anyone. You just need the knowledge of what to do. You need a plan, and you need someone to help you execute that. So this one was a little bit of a detour from Amazon FBA, but it's definitely important, and is why I decided to do this video, because I see lots of people fail all the time with Amazon FBA, but I also see lots of them succeed. And the ones that I see succeed, majority of the time, are able to access business funding so that they can go ahead and not start off with making a couple $100 for Amazon FBA. They can pop off really quick. And those are the ones that are able to quit their job very quickly and scale up very fast. And see, that's where you see those numbers coming in: $100,000 in profit, $500,000 in profit a year. All these big guys, they all have business funding. That's what it takes to make it in this game. And really, with any business that you're looking to get into, this is outside of Amazon FBA. If you're starting a business, like, having business funding is crucial, because so many businesses fail just not having the capital that it takes to be successful. So anyways, that's my spiel for today. If you want to get into Amazon FBA, definitely look into business funding. If you're trying to get funded, you don't know where to start, hit me up. I'll throw my IG right here. We help all of our students. We give all of our students access to help them get business funding. If you're looking to get funded for your business, hit me up. We can definitely work with you. And if you're looking to get into Amazon FBA, I offer one-on-one mentorship for all of my students, in-depth video modules, sourcing meetings every Wednesday where I source profitable products in front of everyone. And I give all the students in my mentorship products to start with, so that you can see sales within your first month 100% of the time. And as well, like I said, business funding, huge part of any business, huge part of Amazon FBA, helping you get money so that you can put more inventory into your stores, turn up very quickly. So hit me up, link down below, IG was earlier. As always, guys, sell things online, make lots of money.